Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, everybody? This is Joseph Conlon coming to you with your AEW Dynamite review on Wednesday, August 5th, 2020. We are officially 1 month away from the next AEW pay-per-view, All Out, September 5th, live on pay-per-view. And we got a lot to talk about here tonight on this Dynamite review. We had a 12-man tag to start off the show. We had Matt Cardona's in-ring debut, teaming up with Cody to go up against John Silver and Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order. John Moxley versus Darby Allin for the World Championship. And then my favorite thing of the night, that debate between Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy. That's going to be a good talking point on this review tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm not alone tonight. I have my first guest here in August. He is a big fan of the Big Fight Field channel. Old school wrestling fan, really old school. But I would like to introduce him now. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend James K. White. James, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it very, very much. That was a great show, man. So it's going to be great to talk about it.
Yeah, no problem. I've wanted you on the channel for a long time, and now tonight I got you on the Big Fight Field channel. I want to hear your thoughts first. No problem. I want to hear your thoughts tonight on the AEW Dynamite show from top to bottom. What do you think about it?
Very good show. Put people over. Simple stories, things of that nature. I just loved every minute of it. There was some things I would have changed slightly, but it got people over, told stories, building for All Out, which is a month away. All of these things is what we want from a wrestling show. This is not hard to do. And it made all the points it had to make. It hit all the marks it had to. And let's start talking about it because it was just so good, man.
Yeah, I want to get right into it. We got a lot to talk about. And the first thing that we saw tonight was a 12-man tag between the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Adam Hangman Page, teaming up with FTR to go up against members of the Dark Order, Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and Alan Angels. I'm not sure who the other dude was. But we saw this 12-man tag. My first initial thoughts of this was the in-ring action was much better this week than last week's multi-man tag match. Good chemistry, good storytelling, but at the end of the day, this looks absolutely ridiculous, and this is something I'm not a fan of. AEW, you really need to get rid of this, in my opinion. This does not work, and it looks ridiculous. If you're going to have all these people in one match, you might as well just have a battle royal. That's my thoughts. But this match was really good. I enjoyed it. We had Dax Harwood, storyline injury. He went out. Hangman Page and Cash Wheeler helped him. Then the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega was stuck. Matt Jackson was getting his ass kicked. Then he got back. Hangman Page came out. He got the hot tag. He went out on the Dark Order. They were going for a combination to Brody Lee. Buckshot, V-trigger, super kick. Omega and the Bucks got pulled out. Brody Lee hit a discus clothesline. And Brody Lee pinned Adam Hangman Page for the Dark Order to get a much-needed win. What did you think about this 12-man tag that started Dynamite?
The only thing that I really enjoyed is at least it furthered the story between Page and Omega. It furthered the story even more because it's probably going to come out that the FTR faked this whole thing to get the hell out of there to not help the Young Bucks. So you're going to have that dynamic, which is probably going to come later. They're preserving themselves. They don't need to go into a 12-man tag. We'll be there, but we won't be there. I love the fact how Wheeler and Page had to go to the back, left. The one thing I thought was pretty silly about this match is the fact that at one point it was 2-on-5 with the Young Bucks against the entire Dark Order, and they were laying out the entire Dark Order at one point. I thought that was utterly ridiculous.
I did too. Oh my God.
I just thought it was utterly ridiculous. You cannot do that. At one point, there was back-to-back spots, so there were points in this match. Again, like you said, I'm an old-school wrestling fan, so there were points in this match where that there wasn't any time to breathe. I don't like when matches do that and have spot after spot after spot. I know everybody worked hard, and if the Dark Order lost this match, I would have been even more angry, because at some point you got to make the Dark Order look a little bit serious. At least they won the match. As silly as certain things were, it told two stories on one side, and at least the Dark Order got over, because we got to get this silliness out of the way. We got to move Brody Lee on from a guy who makes fun of Vince McMahon into at least somewhat of a serious guy. If I was Brody Lee, the only thing I would change, the dives have to stop. It doesn't look well when a guy of his size is doing it. He can do it every now and then, but he does it every single match.
I know.
And the two things you're always going to see in a 10-man tag or 6-man tag or 12-man tag, you're going to see a dive, you're going to see catch-me spots. That's what I don't like.
Yes.
That's what devalues the match.
Yes, it looks ridiculous. And another thing that I don't like, and a lot of people bring this up on social media and criticize it, and rightfully so. It's very confusing where we see who's the legal man in the match and who's not the legal man in the match. And the referee is standing there, and the referee doesn't care. I don't like that. I want to know who's wrestling and who's not, and who's supposed to be outside the ring, you know?
I agree. There's a lot of outlaw rules in AEW, and especially in tag matches. They really kind of need to get a little bit of a handle on that, you know. Like the whole match last week that the main event with Dark and against Taz's guys, was that even announced that it was no disqualification?
No.
Ariana just showed up with a skateboard and thumbtacks.
Yeah, I think it was announced as a tornado tag, which meant it was no disqualification, but...
Oh, okay. Okay. But yeah, so... You're right about that. Because when the referees are standing there, I mean, it just looks dumb. It's like, why even have a referee?
I agree.
So,
it's like, why is the referee even there, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's probably the only thing we're going to complain about tonight, so...
Yeah.
That's about it.
I'm not going to complain about this. We got right into Santana and Ortiz versus the Best Friends in a tag team match. This match, okay, on this show, I don't mean to pick one side here, but on the show, there are differences between what's good in AEW and what's not good in WWE. If this match happened in WWE, this would not mean anything and there would be nothing on the line. In this match, you have two teams. You have two teams that are on the same level. They both need a win, and they both really need a win. And we got to see who's the better tag team. And I felt like there were really some stakes in this match, and I liked it about this match. What do you think before I talk about the action?
I agree with you. It's when there's something on the line, or where there's position on the line, and they have made that clear on AEW television continuously that there's something on the line, there's position on the line, they care about the rankings, it makes a match important, even though there's really no clear title shot on the line. It puts guys in a position, okay, we're supposed to care about the match. We're going to care, and they're going to wrestle like not this cookie cutter, you do a move, I do a move, blah, 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 and it's very, very formulaic. It actually has some, emotion to it. And when you have emotion to matches, it connects to the fan base. And the fans, it comes off that way on television. It seeps out, and you go, oh, well, this is some good energy here. And you really to the point where I'm thinking the entire time, I'm thinking Santana and Ortiz have got this, no matter what. I thought that whole spot where it was the flip into the powerbomb spot, I thought that was going to be the finish. I didn't think at all there was going to be a kick out there. I thought that was going to be the end of the match, and then the match actually wound up going a good on for the Best Friends getting the win. But it's so good when matches matter.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And they're not just there for the sake of being there.
Yeah. But like you said, the Best Friends won at the end. I believe Chuck Taylor rolled up Ortiz, if I'm saying that correct, for the lucky win. Best friends hugged at the end of the match, but this was a really good tag team match. It meant a lot. It had some stakes in it, and this might sound ridiculous when I say this, but in my opinion, Santana and Ortiz are so good. They're one of my favorite tag teams in the world. But right now, they're probably the most underrated tag team in AEW. And to me, that kind of seems ridiculous because they're just so good at what they do. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, sooner or later they're going to blossom. I don't think they've hit their stride yet. I think they are, they're doing their best to put the best friends over, make them mad, or not make them jokes, even though their promos that they cut afterwards was a little ridiculous. I didn't believe a word that Chuck Taylor said. We'll get to that. But, this trying to make them a little more legit, being a team like Santana and Ortiz will do that for them. But I think Santana and Ortiz should be Russia. The inner circle should be a faction that runs.
You're breaking up a little bit there. Hold on a second, folks. Yo. Did you? I think you broke up a little bit there. Yeah. Are you there? Hold on. I'm gonna call him back. Sorry about this. Shit, we're running at 12 minutes now. Shit, what the? Alright, I think we broke up a little bit there, but we're back.
Yeah.
We're back, so we were just talking about Santana and Ortiz. You ready to move on? Jesus. Is your connection good? I'm gonna stop the video, or wait, no. Yo, James. Alright, so me and James here, we're back. We had a little Wi-Fi issue, but we were just talking about the best friends versus Santana and Ortiz. Really quick, we had MJF backstage, who was still campaigning for a shot at the AEW World Championship. He was yelling at Lee Johnson. It's the thing I remember the most. He was yelling at Lee Johnson for a poster that he messed up on, and that's really it. But, I mean, MJF is funny. We got more than MJF, so really briefly, what did you think of the backstage segment?
I can't get enough of MJF. I like how they give us MJF in snippets, so we want more of him. That's exactly how you build up your best heel in the company, other than Jericho. MJF is right there. I mean, MJF he reminds me so much of the way I grew up watching Flair in the 80s, where I just wanted to see him more and more and more and more, because he would just say this outlandish stuff, and he always looked great in a new suit, and always just found a way to get underneath your skin no matter what. The whole thing of the symmetry of the poster was hilarious. Him making his assistant smile all the time, looking at the poll numbers, how Moxley's negative 88, he's 100%.
That was funny.
I mean, like, these are things that are just, these are the little things that make a heel funny. Like they get under your skin as a wrestling fan, but they're so hilarious. They're so hilarious. And MJF is perfect. I'm telling you right now, I would love it if AEW, and I know it would be hilarious. People will bitch and moan and don't be doing that. I would love if next week they were in the office and there was some dinosaur bones on the wall.
Oh my god.
That would be hilarious.
Oh my god, could you imagine?
That would be great.
Oh my god, Twitter will go butthurt.
That would be beautiful. I just want that. It doesn't even have to be Tyrannosaurus bones. It can be any bones of any dinosaur. I don't care. I just want them on the wall. Just in passing fashion. You don't even have to, focus on them.
Oh my god, dude.
MJF has money and everything he does.
Dude, do you want us to get attacked on Twitter or what? Oh boy. Oh man. Matt Hardy was in the ring. He was talking when he came to AEW. He wanted to work with the younger guys. And two guys that he's loved in the business is Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy of Private Party. Passionate guys who love wrestling and who are a great tag team in AEW. But one other guy he wanted to help was Sammy Guevara, and Sammy Guevara did not take Matt Hardy's help, and therefore Matt Hardy wants to hurt Sammy Guevara, and he wondered when Sammy Guevara returned last week, Matt Hardy went under the ring and attacked him because Guevara did the same thing when Matt Hardy joined AEW. And then we see Guevara come from under the wing, attack Matt Hardy, and the brawl started, and Sammy kicked the living shit out of Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy was busted up from his right side of his face. Guevara threw a steel chair at him. It wasn't even a chair, it was like a hard chair. And then I believe a 460 onto Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy had to be helped to the back. This was a really, really good brawl in my opinion, and would probably setting up for Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara, maybe at the Hardy compound. What do you think?
I love the attack. I thought it was great. I think Sammy is hilarious. I love how Sammy has to let us all know that he's wearing Calvin Klein underwear. I think that's hilarious. And the only thing I would have changed for this attack, I wouldn't have had, because I think Matt Hardy did the gig. I think he did. He ran the razor right after he hit the pole. I think that's when he ran it, and they shoot the camera off and did it. I would have had it be a corn syrup blood capsule, kind of like what Roman Reigns did with Triple H busting him up on Raw. I would have had it be a corn syrup blood capsule, and I would have had Sammy Guevara taste Matt Hardy's blood afterwards.
Oh, wow.
That's what I would have had done. Just to add that little extra oomph into the attack. That's exactly what I had done. Kind of like when Brock Lesnar took Hulk Hogan's blood after he beat him on, I think it was on SmackDown. He beat him down and bloodied him. He took his blood and he wiped it right across his chest, like it was like a trophy. That really got Brock over as like an animal back in 2002. I would have done something like that about Sammy, but otherwise I wouldn't have changed anything. I think the Hardy Compound cinematic style. This doesn't seem like it's going to be a regular match.
No.
This seems like it's going to have some type of special caveat to it. I agree with that respect.
I absolutely agree with that. We're probably getting something cinematic between Matt Hardy and Sammy G at All Out. But when we got into a tag team match, Alex Reynolds and John Silver of the Dark Order versus Cody and Matt Cardona. This match was all about Matt Cardona. It was really eye-opening how the attention was not even on Cody. The attention was on Cody after the match, but the entire time we were wondering, when's Matt Cardona getting in? When's Cardona getting in? Cardona got in. He looked great. He looked absolutely great in my opinion. Cody was getting beaten down the entire match. Cardona came in. He won it for his team. He literally beat Silver and Reynolds by himself. Matt Cardona looked like the best he has ever looked since he won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 32. The match was fine, but the obvious was the way Matt Cardona was, and he looked awesome. What did you think about this?
I thought it was great. I was in the building in 2011 at Survivor Series in Madison Square Garden, where Cardona wasn't even on the show. The Rock was trying to talk on the microphone, and the entire building chanted for Zack Ryder. I remember that.
I remember that too.
WWE never capitalized on that. It was mind-numbing to me. But they made sure to take all of his social media ideas of how to promote your brand. They made sure to take all those ideas away from him, including wanting to use his pool a few months ago. But I don't ever want to hear ever again anybody say that Cody Rhodes is marrying anybody. Never again. After what we saw tonight, Cody Rhodes made sure that all the attention, whether he was in the ring or not, was going to be on Matt Cardona. And they made sure Cardona's not going to start the match. It's going to be Cody. Get the heat on Cody. Make the Dark Order look. Again, the Dark Order looked good in a match. Even in a loss, they looked a little bit better than they've been looking ever since this Dark Order's formed. They looked a little bit better. It serves a purpose again. Cody Rhodes took the beating, took the heat. Then, the whole thing was going to be about that hot tag to Cardona. Cardona comes in. He looks magnificent. He looked the best he looked, you said it, in 4 years. Now, was that so hard to do? Instead of having him in the back doing nothing for 4 years? I don't understand it. Because you see what happens when you let this guy go? Look like an absolute beast. There's going to be more of this story. I hope they don't do the typical Cardona comes in, like what they did with Shawn Spears, and then they do the turn. I hope they don't do that. I'm hoping they don't do that. I'm hoping they just build Cardona and let it build gradually and organically and take it from there. But tonight was a great showing for him. Very happy for him.
I loved everything that Matt Cardona did tonight. I don't know if you know this, but yesterday I listened to an interview from Matt Cardona. It was some dude from Bleacher Report Live, and Cardona said in that interview, up until his tag team match with Cody tonight, the last time he cared about a wrestling match that he competed in was at WrestleMania 32 when he won the Intercontinental Championship. Is that crazy or what?
I was in the building for that, by the way.
Oh, wow.
I was in the building for WrestleMania 32, unfortunately.
No.
No, I remember the ovation. I mean, I remember we were dumbfounded when he won the title, when he grabbed the Intercontinental title. We thought for sure it was going to be The Miz or Kevin Owens. I mean, but when they gave it to him, it was like, oh my God. And you could tell how happy he was. He took the picture with Scott Hall, and, he was so proud of that moment. And then WWE just made sure to take it away from him 24 hours later.
Yeah, that was awful. I absolutely hated that. But it really opened my eyes when he said that. The last time he cared about his match was 4 years ago.
That's so sad to hear. But I believe it.
I believe it too. I really do. But then after the match, Cody was walking to the back. Out comes Scorpio Sky. He stares at Cody. He points at the TNT Championship. He walks back, and I'm like, yes, we're getting Cody and Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship at All Out. This is going to be great. But then it got announced that next week we're going to get this match, not at All Out. And I was a little disappointed by that. I don't know about you. What do you think?
I was a little disappointed too. I felt that Cody doesn't have to defend this title every week. That's another thing that this tag match proved. It was actually kind of a little bit of relief that Cody didn't defend the title this week. Just as a little bit of a break to, break it up a little bit. Cody doesn't have to defend this title every week. He doesn't have to. I would have let this be a slow little burn. And if they're going to do this match next week, then I would do something in a way where Scorpio Sky wins the match but doesn't win the title, and it's kind of unsettled, and then they kind of take it up a notch at All Out. That's what I would do. I wouldn't. Since you already announced the match, I would do it that way. Scorpio Sky is getting over organically. I don't know if this was their plan, but if it wasn't, they need to go and ride the wave of what is happening, because Scorpio Sky is incredible. He is
he's so good.
He's got everything going for him. This is good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really bummed out that this match was announced that next week, because in my opinion, Scorpio Sky was the perfect candidate to take that championship from Cody, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yep. James, are you ready to talk about this debate, man?
Me and you were talking about Eric Bischoff earlier, and I was thinking of all the good that Eric Bischoff did from when he was in AWA in the late 80s, and when he became executive vice president in WCW, and then of all the bad with the NWO and the falling apart and the Vince Russo stuff. And I really didn't know what to expect out of this, but I have to admit, I'm not a Bischoff guy, but the one thing Eric Bischoff always made sure to do, he delivered when he was on television. I may have not agreed with how he handled Starrcade 97 or Starrcade 98, or how he takes responsibility for things on 83 Weeks, or how he handled Nitro, but when Eric Bischoff was an on-screen character, he always delivered. And he did it again. And he wasn't overbearing. He didn't make the segment about him. He filled the need. He performed the need. And everything was about Jericho and Orange Cassidy. And this segment, actually, a segment that outshined Chris Jericho. I couldn't believe my eyes how they made this work. I didn't think this was going to work. I thought they were going to just sit there. Jericho was going to berate him, and then Orange Cassidy was not going to talk. But they found a way to make it creative, and this was just mind-numbingly beautifully done. I loved every second of this.
Again, I pointed this out earlier when we were talking about the best friends of Santana and Ortiz. Look about the difference between this AEW and WWE. Would this ever happen in the WWE, dude? Absolutely not. Would this work in the WWE? Absolutely not. This segment was absolutely fantastic. And in my opinion, Orange Cassidy, just for saying a few words about the global issues or something like that.
Yeah, global warming and the floodings and how it relates to each other and how it connects.
Yes, just by saying
even if that was scripted, which we don't know the guys. He could be, he could be a guy who really believes in that. Whether that was scripted or not, it sounded like he owned it. That was his beliefs. He made it, like that. I mean, AEW's not scripted anyway, so I'm pretty sure that he wrote something and put something together about issues, and they made sure to pick the most outlandish thing that we would never think they would talk about. Exactly. And then he made sure to talk about that issue. When Jericho's facial expressions were beautifully done. The one thing that WWE used to be really good at is making guys in moments. The one thing that put Mick Foley over, Mick Foley and Triple H kind of put themselves over. Like, they kind of, formed magic together. Like, Mick Foley when they faced each other in Madison Square Garden in Street Fighter Royal Rumble 2000. But, leading up to it, they had to do this thing with Cactus Jack getting revealed. Triple H's facial expressions of the look of horror when Mick Foley talked about how he's unleashing Cactus Jack and he ripped the shirt open, and then it was beautifully done because it made the moment. Chris Jericho's reactions to the things that Orange Cassidy was saying made everything work. So much of human communication is beautifully done without even saying anything. Chris Jericho got Orange Cassidy over without saying a word in the segment. It was beautifully done. That's all WWE has to do now.
And you know what, dude? You said this earlier in the tweet. It was simple. This segment was so simple. And we thought, a lot of people thought that and we don't know if this is going to work or not. This was a grand slam. This was not even a home run. This was a
grand slam, absolutely.
This was a grand slam in the ninth inning to win the ball game. This was incredible. And the promo that Orange Cassidy cut at the end, saying that this rematch is Orange Cassidy's biggest match of his life, but it's also Chris Jericho's biggest match of his life. Because imagine if Jericho loses to a guy who puts his hands in his pockets, and then next week Cassidy said that next week I'm going to embarrass Chris Jericho, and then Jake Hager attacked Cassidy. Jake Hager put Cassidy's hands in his pockets, and Jericho gave Cassidy a brutal Judas effect. Like we said earlier, this segment was absolutely beautiful, on all capital letters.
Every now and then, wrestling has to take a moment and capsulize it with something, reminding the audience of something. I don't think when people thought of putting this match together, obviously fans are not going to think, what if Jericho loses? They're not going to think that. Orange Cassidy, every now and then a character has to bring reality to a superstar who's on the level of Chris Jericho. And all Orange Cassidy had to say, and he said it, can you imagine what it will be like if I beat you? Because it's the biggest match of your career. Because you're the one that's supposed to beat me. All the pressure is on you. It's beautiful storytelling. It's something, again, that tethers the audience to come back. Wow, what if Jericho loses? Then what?
Exactly.
Beautifully done.
And hey, you know what? I actually do think Jericho's going to lose next week.
Me too.
Yep, because Jericho won the first match at Fyter Fest. Cassidy's going to win next week. And then I think we're going to get that third and final match at All Out. But speaking of next week, we got a loaded show again. We got Jericho and Orange Cassidy in a rematch. Scorpio Sky versus Cody for the TNT Championship. And then we have Jurassic Express versus Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page. Non-title. They said this was a non-title match, I think. And then they got the Young Bucks and the Dark Order. Main event of this show for the AEW World Championship was Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley. And this one started at 9:42, and this went 15 minutes long. And honestly, dude, do you remember their first match they had back in November?
Yes, I do.
I thought this one was better than the first match, to be honest.
I agree with you. Did you like Moxley's promo on the staircase?
Yeah, I thought he cut a really damn good promo and it really showed the respect that Moxley had for Darby Allin. And you know what I liked about it the most? He didn't even say a word about MJF.
No. That's right. He doesn't have to, because he's not focused on him. He'll deal with MJF when he has to deal with MJF. And it played into MJF hitting him with the title belt, because MJF's like, oh, you want to ignore me? You don't want to talk? Oh, okay. Well, I'm coming. Jon Moxley's promo, it didn't have to be a great promo, but just, you see the setting, how they just put him on the staircase outside. And what he said in the promo played into the match. He said, I really don't want to have to be the one that has to end your career. How great is that? See, he even he talked about how he liked Darby Allin. He's his favorite guy in AEW. But the second you step across the ring from me for this, the game changes. And I'm going to have to do what I have to do to beat you. And then he said, I just hope when the time comes that you stay down. But I know you won't.
I love it. It's simple, and it's really effective. And that's the difference between a scripted promo from Jon Moxley and an unscripted promo for Jon Moxley. But I thought this match was awesome. Darby Allin is an absolute madman when it comes to selling. At first, before the match started, this dude walks out with a John Moxley cardboard face on his face as a mask. Moxley rips the mask off. Darby Allin smacks Moxley, and then Moxley gives Darby Allin a really stiff punch to the face, and already we got Darby Allin gushing blood out from his mouth. Then they start beating the crap out of each other. They go to the outside. They're on the top of the stage. John Moxley launches Darby Allin, and Darby Allin hits the steel post and lands halfway from the steel post. This was the most insane spot, I think, of the entire night. This was absolutely crazy.
It was... I had to rewind it like 2 different times because I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like, he threw him off the stage. Darby Allin goes into the post, and I think they went to commercial right after that.
Yes.
I was like, it's like, what? And by the way, it wasn't like one of those WWE set up the commercial break type of things. It was like they literally organically set up the commercial break, like hilariously.
I agree.
Like it was organically like, we'll be right back. And then I love the split screen. We're not missing anything.
Dude, you're not even missing an ounce of a show,
Exactly.
I love that. And so we come back from commercial. Moxley's got a lock-in on Darby Allin. Allin starts fighting back. He does a crazy suicide dive to Moxley on the outside. He brings Moxley back in. Moxley, I believe, hits a regal knee to Darby Allin. Then out comes Wardlow. Wardlow comes out, and he's arguing with the referee. MJF takes the World Championship. He smacks it on John Moxley's head. The story here is MJF wants Darby Allin to win. He would rather face Darby Allin for the championship at All Out than John Moxley.
I love that little dynamic. That was pretty hilarious.
I loved it too. Darby Allin goes to the top rope. He hits a coffin drop. John Moxley kicks out at 2.99. Darby Allin was so close to winning the World Championship, and I actually thought he was going to win the World Championship right there, and I literally jumped out of my seat when that happened. Moxley then hits a German on Darby Allin. He hits a power bomb. Darby kicks out. Or I think it was a spike power bomb or something like that. Spike power drive or whatever. Moxley then hits Paradigm Shift. Moxley retains the World Championship. We see MJF in the backstage with Wardlow and his crew, and MJF is throwing an absolute fit that Darby Allin did not get the win, and now he has to face John Moxley at All Out. This was great. The storytelling was amazing. The match was awesome. Darby Allin got so over in this match, and now we're off to the races with Moxley and MJF at All Out. Your thoughts on this match?
Darby Allin got more over in a loss than he would have if he won this match. Isn't that a novel concept? Oh my God. Someone looking great in a loss. Oh, I mean, my God. I mean, jeez. Someone's got to let WWE know how to do that. I mean, Darby Allin, in this pandemic era, the 3 people that have stood out the most on these wrestling shows, MJF, obviously,
yes.
Chris Jericho, obviously, and Darby Allin. Those are the 3 people. Obviously, Taz and the stuff that he's, Taz getting, Brian Cage over. But I'm talking about, like, in-ring talent, those have been the 3 that have worked their ass off on these shows. And Moxley, obviously, is doing his part. And obviously, Cody putting everybody, putting guys over who weren't even signed over, basically making the championship mean something week after week after week. Those have been the backbone and the core of AEW. And AEW seems like they're moving a little bit away from the silliness, getting a little bit more serious. There'll be time and places for the silliness, but tonight's show seemed like back at Fyter Fest, where they looked like they were focused in on, okay, let's get back to work. That's what tonight felt like. It felt like they wanted to get back to work tonight. Like, no silliness, no nonsense. There was nothing really stupid on this show at all, other than the 12-man tag. There's nothing to complain about. I mean, what else do you want? People got over. I can't wait for next week. That's all I can ask.
I know.
On a wrestling show. And Darby Allin, I want more Darby Allin. I mean, I'm loving him the more I see him. The more I see him, the more I like him. He's getting over organically, and there's not even a crowd yet. Imagine there were crowds.
I feel like Darby Allin got more over in his loss to Moxley without a crowd than he did against Jericho with a crowd. And I was there. I was there for that match. And Darby Allin got so over. Darby Allin's going to face Brian Cage probably at All Out. I'm really looking forward to the match, Darby and Cage. And we're off to Moxley and MJF at All Out. You could tell this was a no bullshit show. They wanted to go in. They had their game faces on. Everybody performed great. It was a great show. And these 2 hours flew by. And I want to thank you guys for watching this AEW review tonight right here on the Big Fight Field channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are 33 subscribers away from 200, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Comment down below. I want to know your thoughts on tonight's AEW Dynamite. What do you think of the show? Hit that like button if you enjoyed the review between myself and James. Follow me on Twitter at Conlon_Joseph. And where can they follow you on Twitter?
At James_K_Dubs DUBBS 21 at Twitter.
Any last minute words before we get out of here?
I'm just thrilled. I love talking about wrestling, so I appreciate when you asked me to come on the show. I am so grateful to be here. I thank you so much, Joseph. I look forward to anytime you want me on, I'll come on, talk about anything, and I'm grateful to be here. And guys, this guy's channel's for real. He's doing some good shit. Channel's growing. Subscribe.
Yep.
Take that Darby Allin skateboard with tacks and hit that subscribe button.
You're damn right, man. You're damn right. And hey, maybe the next time I get you on the channel, we'll shit on WWE, you know?
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Alright, this is James K. White. This is Joseph Conlon. I'm getting out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you tomorrow for your NXT review right here on the Big Fight Field channel.